An elitist pianist challenges a simple woman to a piano duel, completely unaware she's a musical genius. When everyone expects her to fail, she sits at the grand piano and plays a piece so magnificent it leaves the entire room speechless. Claire Harper's fingers danced over the worn keys in her modest San Francisco apartment. At 35, she taught beginner piano at Fillmore Music School. 20 years ago, she'd been a prodigy at the San Francisco Conservatory, destined for greatness. But her mother's illness and mounting medical bills forced her to pause her studies. By the time her mother passed, Claire's savings and career momentum were gone. Music is still music, her mother had told her. Whether you play at Carnegie Hall or in our living room, it's what's in your heart that matters. Claire's friend Sarah got her a catering job at the symphony's exclusive fundraiser. That evening, Claire felt painfully out of place in her simple black dress and beige cardigan, serving canapés to wealthy patrons in designer gowns. "You play?" an elderly woman asked, noticing Claire admiring the magnificent Steinway grand piano. "I used to. Now I just teach," Claire replied. "I'm Eleanor Winters, board member." Their conversation was interrupted by Victor Reynolds, the youngest piano department chair in the conservatory's history. His eyes briefly landed on Claire, dismissing her as staff. "Victor, this is Claire Harper," Eleanor said. "She's a pianist as well." "I teach beginners," Claire answered. Victor smiled thinly. "How charming. Not everyone can handle the rigors of true classical training. True musical understanding goes beyond technical training," Claire said quietly. Victor's smile froze. "An interesting perspective from someone serving appetizers. Where did you study?" "I was at the conservatory, actually. Years ago." "Were you? And yet, here you are." After Victor's flawless Liszt performance, he held court near the piano. The problem with music education today is we've lowered our standards. When Claire cleared glasses nearby, Victor called out, "Our pianist turned server. What was your perspective on Liszt's Hungarian Rhapsody?" "It was technically perfect," Claire said carefully, "but it lacked heart." A shocked murmur ran through the guests. "Heart," Victor repeated. "That nebulous quality amateurs cling to when they can't master technique. Why don't you show us this heart you keep mentioning?" He gestured toward the Steinway. "I'm working," Claire said. "One piece, your choice. Unless, of course, you're all talk." Eleanor protested, but Victor pressed on. "Show us this emotional quality my playing apparently lacks." Claire felt trapped. When Victor dismissed her students, perhaps stick to teaching chopsticks to children, something broke loose inside her. "One piece," she said steadily. Standing before the Steinway, Claire's hands trembled. What was she doing? She hadn't performed publicly in years. Victor stood nearby, smirking, satisfied he'd cornered her. The memory surfaced. Her mother saying, "Music is a conversation. It's about saying something true." Claire straightened her shoulders. "Actually, I was just deciding what to play. Something with heart, I presume," Victor mocked. "Exactly." She began Debussy's Clair de Lune, not with romantic sentimentality, but with clarity and emotional honesty that made the familiar piece sound new. The chattering crowd went completely still. Even servers paused, listening. Victor's smirk vanished. Without pause, Claire transitioned into Chopin's revolutionary Etude, one of the most technically demanding pieces in the repertoire. The thunderous opening erupted from her fingers with unexpected power. This was no longer the unassuming server. This was a force of nature. The Victor's students exchanged glances of disbelief. Claire's hands flew across the keyboard with precision that belied her years away from the stage. She played with raw, emotional authenticity, each note carrying the weight of her own quiet revolution. The final chords resounded triumphantly. For one heartbeat, absolute silence. Then the room erupted in applause. People rose to their feet, abandoning aristocratic reserve. Only Victor remained still, his face showing shock, disbelief, and something that might be respect. In the days that followed, video of Claire's performance went viral. The Chronicle ran a feature, "Hidden Virtuoso, the server who stunned the symphony." Offers came from promoters, conservatories, record labels. Claire accepted a part-time position at the conservatory, but kept her job at Fillmore Music School. She agreed to limited performances, including a charity recital for music education. "Life took me on a different path," she told a reporter. "But I never stopped being a musician, whether anyone was listening or not." 6 months later, Claire performed to a sold-out audience. In the front row sat her students from Fillmore, their faces shining with pride. She wore her signature beige cardigan over an elegant black dress. "Music isn't about credentials or pedigree," she told the audience. "It's about speaking truth through sound. Never let anyone convince you that your voice isn't worth hearing." Then she played, not to impress, but to connect, just as she always had.